Hi, Dana. It's so
Hi.
great to see you.
Hi, Amy. You too. You too. Thanks for having me.
I'm so thrilled that you're here because I know you have a lot of exciting things going on, and I can't wait to hear all about it and share with whoever is watching so they can learn about the amazing work that you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Well, work anyway.
Yeah, it's work, yeah. And we were chatting briefly that we met probably maybe 8 or 9 years ago. I think it was around 2016 or so, right?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You were working with Renee Stork?
Yes, Renee Stork and I did a short film called The Cartographer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Ru Nishi Kubo was your cinematographer.
Yes, he was yeah, still is an amazing
Yes. I
cinematographer.
work with him all the time. I love him.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
amazing.
he is amazing.
Yeah, so we met, I was privileged to be part of your pilot of your series. Let's tell folks about that. Tell folks about,
East. Oh yeah, it's what a journey it's been really. Really cool. Really I didn't know sort of the trajectory of what was going to happen back then with this pilot. It started as an idea I had about pursuing a dream as an actor in New York. And I wanted to make it a comedy because that's how I handle all the things that happen in my life. I try to find something funny about when things don't go my way. And so I wrote that pilot and we shot it in 2 days, and you were at the funeral scene. There was a star that died suddenly, a big star that dies suddenly, and there was a memorial service for her, and then a sort of a party afterwards. And I think that's where you were
yeah.
in the pilot then. And we shot it in 2 days, and it everybody loved it. It was 22 minutes. It had so many people that we have in common
Yeah.
uh, in it. It's called East. And then a couple years later, one night, Jen Rudolph, Janine Bartel, and I were at a show, and we were talking about how we should do a second episode. And then a second episode was born, and we did episode 2 in January of 2020, which also feels like a lifetime ago, right? Before, I mean, little did we know that the world was about to shut down.
Yeah.
But we shot episode 2 in January of 2020, and also in 2 days. And then I spent February editing it.
Hmm. Yeah. What a blast.
Um, but yeah, so that year I ended up Jen, I think it was fall of 2020. Jen introduced me to a woman named Jolie Kurtzinger, who is an actor and a producer, and said, "Hey, I think you might like Dana's series." And so I sent her episode 1 and 2, and she loved it. And we decided to work together to shoot the whole season.
Wow.
So that was really exciting. So she came on board. I wrote a role for her, a great role as the head of a movie studio, and she came on as a actress and also as my co-executive producer, and we just had a blast working together. Yeah, so we shot 6 episodes,
Wow.
and
That's
we
a lot of
shot it. It was a lot of work. It was.
work.
But it was so fun. You know, when you're working and you everything feels in alignment and you just feel like you're doing the thing you're supposed to be doing.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it felt like every day on set. We shot, so the vaccine came out, I think, in March of 2021. So we
Hmm.
were all newly vaccinated, and we shot in New York City from April 16th, 2021 to June 16th,
Wow.
2021.
Mm.
And huge cast. We had so many people come in and out during this time, many people that we have in common. Janine Bartel plays I play Ella, the lead,
Yeah.
and Jolie plays a woman named Lacey Stone, and then Janine Bartel plays my sister,
Uh-huh.
and Jen Rudolph plays a casting director.
Hmm.
Natalie Roy plays sort of a rising star.
Hmm.
Um, and you might remember all of these from the pilot, but then I ended up bringing on a whole bunch of new characters. And Stephanie Wepler plays a friend of mine in acting class. And the story of East is about a woman who thinks that her life is going exactly how she wanted it to be. She was living with her boyfriend. She finds a diamond ring. She thinks he's about to propose. She thinks she's going to make partner at her law firm. And she just did all the steps that she thought she needed to do, like
Hmm.
so many of us do.
Right.
And the rug gets pulled out from underneath her, and she gets fired from her job. And she goes home to see that her boyfriend is cheating on her,
Uh,
and her world collapses.
yeah. Yes, that's often the catalyst for change, right?
Sometimes you have to lose everything to figure out
Yeah.
what it is you really want to do. And she does, and she remembers that she always wanted to be an actress. And so she steps into the world of acting in New York City.
Yeah.
And then it becomes, although she's the protagonist of the whole season, it becomes an ensemble cast, with all the other actors having their own storylines, which is really fun to watch. And it's a comedy.
Well, we love a comedy.
Love it.
Lots
We need comedy, right?
we do so need comedy. And there are so many stories to be told in the acting community.
Exactly.
And if
Exactly.
you don't keep a sense of humor, you know,
You have to. I
it's
mean, with anything you do, I think having that sense of humor, keeping things into perspective, and being able to laugh at yourself along the way, I think is really the key to success,
yeah, and survival.
survival. That might be the better word there.
Yeah, survival and then success. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So what's happening with it now?
So we put just the pilot, into festivals around the country and actually around the world, and it's done really tremendously well. It's won a lot of festivals. It was in Dances with Films in New York this past December, which was really exciting because it screened at Union Square,
Yeah.
which was so much fun to screen in that theater. And it's such a great festival for independent filmmakers. So we were really honored to be a part of that festival. It's won another New York festival, Best Pilot. And then it's won festivals in Austin. I won a combination, which was a really cool award. It was a Best Director, Best Actor, because I directed this series as well,
Yeah.
which is a cool award because a lot of actors also direct, and I think to be acknowledged to be able to do both was
Yeah.
really, I was really honored.
Mhm.
We won in Dublin, Best
Cool.
Pilot in Dublin, and I'm trying to think of what other festivals. But yeah, so they'll come to me as we go on, but we've probably gotten into, I don't know, 20 festivals and won a bunch of awards. So now we are finishing up post-production on the season, and we are looking for a home for the show.
Mm-hmm. And if you could wave the proverbial magic wand,
Oh,
where would you like this project and your life in general to go in the next year or two? What do
oh,
you see?
I love that question.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like it to be on Netflix, of course. That would be tremendous for us, because the show is about a bunch of struggling actors and actresses in New York,
Hmm.
and that's who's cast in it. So it would be really exciting to watch all of these talented people be able to share their work.
Hmm.
That really excites me. Um, so yeah, so I say Netflix because it has the greatest audience.
Yeah.
But we would just be happy if it could find a home and people enjoy it and want to see a second season. So that would be the dream, right? Is to do season 2 and be able to keep the show alive. And and
Yes.
get an audience
And
and
hire
continue.
more friends.
Hire more friends. And then I say this to everybody. I don't cast you because you're my friend. I cast you because you're good.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that you're my friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's important because everyone is really talented in
Hmm.
their own right and could be working for anybody, anywhere. And I just got lucky and have them in my show and Jolie's show too. I mean, we're really partners in this now. So
Yeah. That's wonderful.
yeah.
And what about the rest of your um projects, your life? What's lights you up these days besides the idea of getting this on streaming service?
I think, I've spent so many years working on post-production on the show. It's exciting to think about the other projects that I'd like to go back to or finish.
Uh-huh.
I have a couple screenplays that I've written that I would love to get out into the world. Some comedies, some dark comedies. I'd really love to do a feature.
Mm,
As much as I'd love to do the second season of the series, I also would love to do a feature.
okay.
So that's just trying to figure out, the pieces of the puzzle of putting all of that together.
Hmm.
Um, and then I've also been helping actors shoot scene creations as sort of a side hustle, which has been really fun because it's just writing like a page and a half and directing actors and helping to shine a light on talent and
Yeah.
helping people really up their reels. And I try to make them look like they're part of a larger project.
Yeah.
So that's been really rewarding for me on just a day-to-day basis when I'm not working on the larger projects.
Yeah. It is rewarding helping other people
Yes.
rise because what they say, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And when you're starting to feel um, down about your own progress or lack thereof, when you reach out and help someone else and lift them up, it just lifts you, right?
Yeah,
Find
definitely. Definitely. And it's a combination of helping somebody really using my experience as a director and as a writer to help actors. And also it helps me too because I'm doing the things that I love to do on a small scale. So I'm writing them, I'm editing them, I'm directing them.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's great. It's been
Out
really
of the different um jobs, shall we say, of acting, directing, writing, is there one that you prefer over the other, or you just love them all equally the same, like children?
a lot of people ask me that question, which would you do? Would you choose acting? I can say that I could say that I got into the industry at 22, I wanted to be an actor.
Hmm.
But then when I go back into and as a child, I went to acting camp and
Yeah.
but then I also really look at myself as a writer and director. And I think that was always a part of me. It's always been there, the
Hmm.
writer in me. Birthday cards were always 5 pages long. You know, what I mean? Like I had to express every thought at every moment.
Yeah.
And so I think writing comes very naturally to me. And then directing is just sort of an extension of that and
Mm.
really an opportunity to look at something from a different perspective and bring it to life. And so those three things, I think, um, I really love. I
Yeah.
really love. I think sometimes I don't give my acting enough attention because the other things require so much.
Yes. Yeah. Right. A lot of time and energy goes into the writing process, I'm sure. And then
Yeah,
when you're when you and because it's something, if you're directing something you wrote, it's your baby, and you have a certain vision and you want to see that vision come to life, and so that requires a lot of dedication to the process of picking the right people and setting the scene, and all of that goes into it. It's a lot.
absolutely. It is. But it's also, I like to leave room for um, the creative expression of the actors. I really, as
Mhm.
an actor myself, I know how important it is to have ownership of a character once you're cast.
Mhm.
And so I love the collaboration.
Yeah.
I wrote this character, but you're making this character a human.
Yeah.
And so what are you bringing to the table, and
Yeah.
how are you making him or her come to life? And watching that,
Yeah.
I love that.
Inspiring, right?
Ew, it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite things about directing. So I like to do a lot of improv and really keep things open on set because it is a moment to moment. So
Mhm.
you create all of these things and you have this vision of how you want it to go, and then you have to let it all go.
Yeah.
Just
And
like acting, right?
and good, yeah, and good on you for, yeah, that's like the actor's director, that you love to work with because they give you that freedom and it's not so rigid that you have to do it my way, um, or it isn't right. So yeah, that's great. Beautiful that you're
Thank you.
collaborating like that. I love that.
Thank you.
So if you had everything fall into place just the way you would love it, what would that do for you?
Oh gosh. I think sometimes, you know how you get scared to think about what would happen if you got the things that you wanted and you
Yes.
were happy.
Be careful what you wish for, you just might get it, right?
I think, I think I just wake up every day and I try to do the things that I have to do. And I don't know how I would feel because I feel like ever since I graduated from college, I've been working towards this goal. And I don't know if you ever really you can achieve goals, of course,
Milestones.
milestones and projects.
Hmm.
But being an artist, and I'm sort of I'm an entrepreneur and an artist. So I have the business and the artistic side, which I think, is it makes life complicated.
In a good way, though.
In a great way. I don't know any other way to be, but I probably I think I would feel, of course, a tremendous sense of gratitude.
Yeah.
And I beyond that, I haven't allowed myself to step into what it would feel like, I think.
Try doing that right now. What, imagine you're you're signing the contract with Netflix and they're handing you a big fat check. What does that feel like?
I think it would feel surreal. I don't know if I feel like I would not believe it. I think I think I would be so overwhelmed with joy and gratitude. I and I would be so excited. I would just want to burst. I just burst.
And
I
then
might just combust, and that
and,
would be the end of it.
and after that initial shock wears off, what's the best part about it?
Oh, wow. I think staying true to myself against all odds
Mm,
probably would feel really good. I mean, it still feels good, right? We haven't given up.
right.
And I think, that's the secret. Just don't give up. Just
Yeah.
don't stop.
Yeah.
And I think I've had a lot of obstacles in my career, and it has not been easy.
Mm. How do you deal
And
with that?
what
How do you deal with those those challenges and obstacles?
I think you step into the gratitude of the things that you do have. I have an incredible family
Mm,
and friends, and I love New York, and I can get inspired pretty easily. So I think just kind of when things don't go your way, just kind of stepping into the things that do go your way that you might not have acknowledged
Yeah.
or you don't acknowledge every day, like a great cup of coffee,
Mm.
things that you just sit into and say, okay, this is not that bad. Life is not that bad. I'm lucky. I'm lucky to be American. I'm lucky to live in New York City.
Mhm.
I'm lucky to be well educated. And I'm lucky to pursue this dream no matter what happens. I think that that's a gift in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, a lot of times, people will ask, if you would give advice to your younger self, knowing what you know now, because maybe there's newbies that are watching this that are looking for some inspiration. What would you say to your?
Such a good question. It's funny because I was just talking about this the other day, and there's two ways to go with this. I believe strongly in both of these things, but I can only have my own life to say, well, that was actually the path that I took. So my father is still alive, doing well. He is a sort of a self-made businessman.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to law school and he went to business school and he worked on Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
And so I grew up and my mother's an artist and they have a beautiful marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But they're very different. My mother is, oh, dream big and you can do anything and the world is your oyster. And my father is a bottom line, how are you going to pay your rent type of person.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm both.
Both. You have
Yeah,
both.
I have both
I
in
see
me.
that.
So I think, at 22, there was no way. Before I graduated from college, I went to the University of Michigan. I was a political science major and I minored in history. And it was sort of understood that I would go to law school or I would be a journalist. That was sort of the path that I wanted. I was always interested in media, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was going to be on the artistic side of it. I thought maybe I would be a broadcast journalist and I would, not that that isn't artistic, but it is more of sort of the conservative approach. Or I'd go to law school and when I graduated at 22, I really thought about who I am and what I wanted to be. And it all led me to believe in act that I wanted to be an actor. And I thought, oh, I could be all of those things. I could be a lawyer one day, and I could be a journalist the next day, and it's kind of staying true to so many things.
Yeah.
And so I really wholeheartedly had tunnel vision about the entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
I can talk to you about that road, which was long. Um, and no one could lead me astray. I would not listen to any other. It was, I'm working in the entertainment industry. I'm doing this. And that was who I was. And I was truthful. I was honest. I was me. I was authentic. I think now, if I look back on it, and only recently, and I've said this to my father, and which he just laughs because it's a little too late, but so I'm scared to give this advice. So the one road is be true to yourself and go for it and don't say no and don't listen to anybody else. And that's me, right? Like that's the real me. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And then there's this other side of me that thinks, well, if I had just gotten to law school when I was 22 and gotten my MBA afterwards and made a bunch of money on Wall Street, I could have been making my own movies and been an actor at 30, and the road would have been a little easier.
But you wouldn't have written East. And I think that your
There's no way.
character is kind of based on some of your experience, is it not?
It absolutely is. I would
You
not have
fired
written.
yourself from being a lawyer.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. Yeah, there's really no way. So I say it more like, that would have been the mature decision to make, the responsible, but at the time, there's no way. And I don't regret what I did. It made me the artist that I am today.
Yeah.
But it's fun to think about. Well, yeah, I would have been a very different person. I also was, it was like I had to shed all of the and I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but I wanted to shed all of the privilege that I had had so that I could dig my nails into the dirt
Mhm,
and get dirty and understand what it felt like to really just have nothing and want to pursue a dream.
mhm,
And that was sort of the approach. I started waiting tables and just, and then I got really lucky and I got a job working as a page at NBC, but I was making $200 a week. I mean, it was, and so I think there was the artist in me didn't care about money. I just wanted expression and to see life from that world. And I did.
yeah,
And it was eye-opening and scary and exhilarating and all of those things.
yeah. So, uh, I guess from there, one could say either path, whatever path you choose one, right? Make a decision one way or the other, because when you move with conviction, whether this path may lead you one way, but it may have a detour on it that takes you another way. I mean, we all have pivots in our lives, right? I, I spent 5 years in New York after college. You know, this was pre-internet for sure.
Yeah.
And left after 5 years to get married and raise my family. And I fulfilled my acting desires locally, and then pivoted again after my children were old enough to be like, all right, I think they're on their way. I can go at it again. And all these new doors were open.
Mm,
But there's nothing wrong with any path you take as long as you take it with conviction. I think that's the key, right? Make a
definitely.
decision and go for it, afraid
Definitely.
or not.
And I think, when I talk about, well, what if I had gone to law school or, you know, even when I say that, it's like a little part of me dies because that's not really the message I want to give.
Yeah.
It really is believe in yourself. And if you want to do this, go do it. It's not going to be easy, but you have to trust your artistic vision. You have to trust your talent. You can't listen to anybody. I mean, that was really my truth. That's really the story. I just look back now because I'm older and go, well, but the real message is go do it. Go make your projects. Go write the script. Don't wait for other people to tell you it's good or bad.
Mhm.
If you think it's good, then it's valuable.
Yes.
And I think that that's really the message, that's important because there was a lot of times I wrote so many scripts that were rejected. And would just sit around and wait for people to tell me that it was good. And it wasn't until I started putting them out there myself that I realized that people liked my work.
Yeah.
And that would never have happened if I wasn't making it myself. If I was just sitting around waiting for an agent to say, okay, yeah, I like this script. This is, you can't, it's art, it's subjective, it always will be.
Right.
So put out what you want in the world and we'll see.
Yeah. And we're lucky that we live in a time when you can do that on a shoestring budget. In 2 days, you can put out a 22-minute pilot.
Right. Well, we shot it in 2 days. It took,
Not in 2 days. I mean, I know a lot goes beyond, but there are people out there making guerrilla films. They're doing it on their iPhones or whatever. I know what you did took a lot more than that because you had professional cinematographers and sound people, and sound is key, I believe, because if you can't hear it, people who just tune out. They can't hear it and understand what's going on.
yeah, you have to hire people. I think working with people that are good at their job, whether it's the actor or the producer or the AD or the production assistants.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, don't underestimate the value of a great PA because they can save your whole shooting day.
Yeah. Yeah. Keeping
And
people
getting
on track.
locations and all of that stuff. I think it's important to work with people who really care. I always found that I like working with people who care, who feel as lucky as I do to be on set that day.
Yeah.
Those are my people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gift to work.
Yeah.
And we spend so many hours of the day not doing this that
Yeah.
when we get to actually be on set, this is a dream.
Yeah.
And I love that. And so those are the people that I tend to hire, work with, love collaborating with.
Yeah.
No ego.
Mm-hmm.
It just has to be what is in the best interest of the project. What's the best story that we want to tell?
Yeah. Uh, any other advice that you would offer to people who want to do what you're doing?
I think you just have to jump in and do it.
Yeah.
I think the more you think about it, the more it seems it's more difficult, right? But if you just get up and you do it,
Yeah. Take the
I
first
think,
step.
yeah, just take the first step, right? It's also important to work on projects that you are passionate about.
Oh, for sure.
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So if you love the script or if you want to write a script, make sure you're going to spend a lot of time with that story and those characters. So make sure that you're excited about that.
Yeah. Or, I'll share that when we were doing these challenges, of making a film in 72 hours, shooting it in 2 days and getting it edited like rapid fire. I knew I wanted to work with Renee.
Yeah.
There was just something about her that said, she's got it going on. I want to work with her. And I approached her and I said, can we have lunch or sit down and have a cup of coffee, something? And I told her that I really wanted to work with her. And I told her about where I live and how many beautiful places there are to shoot and that we could come up with a great story. And she actually hopped in my truck and came out to Long Island with me. We met in the city and
That
we
day?
walked the entire way on a Saturday. And I showed her my family's marina and the hotel next door that we owned at the time. All these places that once she saw it, she was like, I have an idea for a story. She was
Yeah.
inspired by the location.
Well, I remember that opening shot at the marina,
Yeah. And
right? It
so,
was on a boat
yeah, well, the opening shot was from the view of a truck pulling in.
to the to
Leading
the
into
to
the
the
marina.
marina though, right?
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
remember it.
Yeah. And so she came up with the idea of the plot and she asked Nick Job to write it.
Oh, Nick. Yeah. I
Job
think he's
wrote
in
it.
LA now.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
Hmm.
And then from there, it was having worked with a smaller cast on one project and a really big cast on another one, I realized the smaller, the better to give everybody juicy stuff to bite into. So it was 4 characters. I got to
Hmm.
play one,
Hmm.
and we invited 3 others. And then we put together this team. And because Renee had seen Taru's work, she
Hmm.
she knew she wanted him as cinematographer.
Hmm.
And it just came together like magic.
Mm.
And it sounds like that's what you had too. It was just a magical, month of October of 2016 that it all and it was my birthday weekend.
Oh, what a gift.
It really was. So I really truly believe that when you're passionate about something, like you said, when there's some story you really want to tell, a person you want to really work with, um, a place that inspires you to tell a story, people that inspire you to tell a story, a team that you really enjoy working with, do it because magic comes out of it.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
And the stories that we tell are so important. And I think that what we do, what you do as artists, creators, whether it's on stage in a theater, in film or on television, whether you're a songwriter, musician, a screenplay, any of it, all of those creative arts are
Mhm.
critical. We started as storytellers around a campfire, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And your work deserves to be made and seen and enjoyed. And so from from this, is there anything that could be slowing you down, standing in the way, or stopping you from having the rest of your story come like magic to you?
I love your questions. You're so cute. Slowing me down, getting in. I think, um, I probably get in my own way with my acting a little bit, if I'm honest about that. I should be updating my reel and putting my work out there, and I probably don't do that enough. Um, I think that's typical sort of, I don't know what it is, right? I don't know if it's fear or if it's just something blocking me, but it's like I spend so many hours of the day working.
Yeah,
I could spend an hour just updating my own acting reel so I could get work that's something that I didn't write, that I could just get cast. Sometimes it's just so fun to get cast in a role and get to play as an actor
yeah,
and not think about all the other variables that you
right.
have to think about when you're directing or producing or
Mhm.
writing.
Yeah,
Um, so I get in my way a little bit with my own acting, I think. And then I think finances, I just think it's hard to be an independent filmmaker in this world because even though it's democratized like never before, it's still, you want to pay the people that work with you and you
that's
want to make sure that you're creating the best product that you can
mm,
and putting your best foot forward, and all of that requires a budget.
yes, yes,
And so I think that, which that circles back to the reason why I said maybe I should have gotten my MBA, because I think, so that I could create, so that I would have the freedom to create whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted.
yeah,
And that's the only reason why I would say that.
yeah.
I don't even like hearing it when I say it. So,
Mm,
I don't really mean it, but yeah, I think you don't need money to pick up a pen and write a story.
mhm.
But if you do want to make a film and you want it to be as good as it can be, it does require a budget.
Yes, absolutely. And and going to the people who've done it and asking, like I'm asking you, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to do that? Who, to ask the people who've done it, what did you do? What's a step I can take? And just take the first step. And sometimes the first step is asking for help.
Definitely.
you know a lot of these independent films get started by having fundraisers, Kickstarters or
Right.
GoFundMe's, or asking friends and family who got MBAs to
What
don't
is if somebody, just to turn it around, if you could have, where do you see your career and in the next 2 years? And if you could have it all, and how
uh,
do you want to be acting, producing, or
well, at the moment, I am producing Shakespeare in the Park in my community. I have a
Oh,
company called Northeast Stage. I co-founded when I was a kid. 1983, we got our 501(c)(3).
oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, I know, 40 years.
You knew you were completely directed. You knew exact focused. You knew
Yeah.
exactly what you wanted to do.
Yeah. And in between, in that 40-year span, I went to college. I lived in New York for 5 years. I got married, had two beautiful children who are now adults, and I directed 16 high school musicals while I was raising them,
Oh, wow.
and every summer would do a show with Northeast Stage. So I'm doing more producing now, although last summer I was in The Tempest playing a drunk. This year we're doing Othello in the summer, and in June the complete works of Shakespeare abridged, and then in the fall we'll be doing um, poetry and playlets festival for Halloween. So I have my hand in the acting producing area. I'll never give up acting because it's my joy. It really is my joy. I
Mhm,
like being part of the creative process of
mhm,
making it happen, like I did with the cartographer and working with um, Anthony Robert Grasso when we did the retreat was also filmed locally. I've done a couple of other short films locally with friends who live in the area during the whole, wear mask,
mhm,
wear masks when not on camera.
mhm,
Um, so at the moment, the acting is sidelined because I'm focused on coaching. I pivoted during that time when we were shut down. I was really frustrated about not getting to do what I love, and I got some coaching myself. And the
mhm.
program that I learned, I said I was encouraged to write what I would love, and that's why I asked you to wave the magic wand. I would love to be invited to be in a short film shooting in my local area, working with like-minded creative people
Mhm,
and being part of the creative process.
mhm.
And then I went and took my dog for a walk. And on the walk, I got a phone call from a friend, which I didn't take because I was talking to someone else walking their dog who turned out was in the business. And I thought, ooh, this is something, but it wasn't. And then I called my friend back and he said, hey, Amy, I've written a film and I really want you to be in it. I'm here with the director. Can you meet with us today?
Oh my gosh, you completely
It's like,
manifested that.
did I manifest that or what?
Yes.
So, so I did meet with him. I liked his story. It was called The Clown Affair. It was a supporting role. And because I have this theater company, I helped him cast some other roles. And I
Mhm,
offered my home and my mother's home as locations for shooting.
mhm,
And it's in the film festival circuit, doing well. The my friend Joe wrote it and was the clown in The Clown Affair. He got an award for it.
great.
Yes. So the only part I left out was how much I wanted to be paid.
We forget to manifest the paycheck.
I know. So I'm
You're not
encouraging
alone.
anybody out there who's listening, make sure you put in all the details.
Because
Who,
we think we're so lucky to be cast, and then it's, oh yeah, but
yeah,
I have to pay the rent.
yes, exactly. So I was so inspired by how this all works. It's the art and science behind what we people call the law of attraction or the science of getting rich talks about it. It's really getting into that place of visualizing very clearly what it is you want, putting yourself in it as if you're the character, right? And living it
Mm,
as if it's already done,
mhm,
because everything is created twice first hear and then inform.
Mm-hmm.
So where would I like to be? I would like to be transforming lives, especially actors and creative people like you, with the coaching that I do, and having a ripple effect in our community that lifts all boats,
Mm.
that lifts us all. And I feel like that would give me a tremendous amount of joy. And in between, I might do some acting. But I feel like I'm being called to do this. So thank you for asking.
So with your coaching, is it acting coaching or is it life coaching?
It's 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 more life. It's not the specifics of the technique, because there's plenty of that out there. There's
Mm-hmm.
plenty of the how to, act on camera and what to do with your voice. And I know a lot of people that I can point those people to if that's what they need. But most of it is the mental game.
Yeah, it's all about the mindset.
It's the mindset of deciding, first knowing what it is you want, really, and the will to do it. Like JFK said, what do we have to do to get a man on the moon before the decade ends? And the scientist said, the will to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, deciding what it is you want and then going for it, even in the face of fear, even when you're scared. It just, like, get in there and get dirty.
Yes. Yeah.
Dig your nails in there and grow the biggest oak tree of a dream from the tiny acorn of your imagination.
I love that. Yes. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
It's true. If you don't make it happen, no one's going to make it happen for you.
No,
No
it's
one cares about your dream as much as you do.
correct.
Even your loved ones, they want you to be happy, but
Yes.
you
And
know,
they also want to protect you.
yes, true. True.
Yeah, they want to
Yeah.
protect you from what might happen, or that you'll starve to death.
Well, I remember thinking, especially in my 20s, sorry, I have something in my throat. Everything for me was a story. I would go on a date and it would be a bad date. And I remember thinking, oh, I can't wait to write about this. Or what if I said this right now over dinner with this on this blind date? How would he react? Yeah, like I was just always in everything was art to me. I could not see past life as art as life. Like it was all sort of
Yeah.
and I say that because every setback I had,
Mhm.
every disappointment, every opportunity, all of that became a script for me.
Yeah. You used your stumbling blocks as stepping stones.
I did. I definitely did. And, you know, sometimes they were stepping stones and sometimes it was just sort of that long, flat path. Like in the airport, I forgot what it's called, the conveyor belt, where it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
going and you're not going up, you're just kind of going.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I look back, I wrote all the time and never stopped writing. I used to take my laptop to the bars and just sit at a bar and I needed to be around the energy.
Mm,
It wasn't that I needed to drink or I needed to meet people. I needed to be because writing can be, you're in solitude.
yeah.
So I would take my laptop and I would put it at a bar, at a desk at a bar, and I would order myself dinner and I would just sit there and I would write and I would tune the world out. I probably looked like a crazy person, but I loved it. It was like the best way to, on a Wednesday night to like go do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I could really just kind of like it was like the background noise was just
Mhm.
kind of fueling me.
Yeah, setting the scene almost.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Everything I saw was a bit or a beat or 'cause
Mm,
I did a little bit of stand up. So it was like, well, how do I make that funny? how do I tell that story in the funniest possible way, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think just trying things out, is
Right.
sometimes the best thing. And because you don't know unless you try. And it's so if it's something that you feel really passionate about, don't, I mean, and something I shared in in our Facebook community recently is that a friend of mine who was one of my partners in believing suddenly passed away of a brain aneurysm. And I thought she was going to write a book. She was going to buy a house. She had all kinds of plans for her life. And she was in it. She was doing it. And then it was over.
That's so sad. I'm so
So
sorry.
don't die with your dream unlived, untried for. At least she was trying. She was in the process,
Hmm.
in the process. So if you know there's some burning desire inside of you that you really want, you have to go for it because
See why you're a good coach. You're very inspiring.
well, thank you for saying so. I feel like I'm called to do it, and you're called to be a writer, director, actor. You have stories inside you that want to come out and be told, and that's true of so many people.
Yeah.
And yet they're afraid to do it, afraid to be seen, or afraid to succeed. Because what's going to happen? How's that going to affect the rest of my life and the people around me?
I think that that's really an excellent point, Amy. I think the fear of success is very real
It is.
for so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we stay small or we are afraid to really just put ourselves out. What happens if I become successful and then this happens or that happens? And, all of the scenarios that could
Yeah.
go wrong are
Yes.
really frightening.
Yeah. Who's going to judge me?
And you know what? It You're going to get judged either way. So you might as well be successful.
Amen to that. Yes, you might as well. Yes, go for it. Yes.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I think, and that's, it doesn't matter what, it's all subjective. It's all art. It's all,
Mm, yeah. Well,
so,
I think that we leave people with this inspiring thought of, yeah, take the step in the direction of the dream. And when you're scared, ask for help and and protect your baby dream from the naysayers. Find yourself a cheerleader, somebody who believes in you to be able to say, I'm scared, but I want to do it. Cheer me on. I need some cheering on.
yeah. Yes, but I also think be your own because
Yes.
I think it's
Yeah.
such a personal journey.
Yeah.
And if there's a way that you can just believe in yourself through it,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's the that's the greatest gift you can give yourself as an artist,
Yeah.
as a human. It just no, even if you're not an artist, even if whatever you do, I think the belief in yourself that you can do it is everything.
Yeah. I think that's a very good message. Yeah. Self-belief. Because you weren't, if you weren't meant to do it, you wouldn't have been given the idea, the dream in the first place.
Right, right, absolutely,
If there wasn't a way to achieve it, it wouldn't have come to you.
right,
Yeah.
right. We hope.
We
No,
believe, we
yes,
believe,
we believe.
we believe we're going to see your series on Netflix or something even better.
Oh, thank you. I hope so. And I will let you know. It's called East the Series
Hmm.
um, on Instagram.
Okay.
And I will definitely let you know when we get distribution,
And good. I like it.
where you can see the show. And yeah, I would love to hear what people think.
Yeah.
You
And
enjoy it.
where can people find you if they want to learn more about you and what you do?
So I on Instagram, I'm Dana Marisa Schoenfeld,
Okay.
DanaMarisa Schoenfeld, Schoenfeld. And then my company is called Main Sequence Studios. It's based in New York, and the website is that mainsequencestudios.com. And you can learn about me and reach out to me if you want to in either of those places.
Great. Yeah. And for those who are looking to make reels, that's something you do too. You help them with a
Yes.
and
Yep. If you need an updated demo reel and you want to look like you were in a movie, I do comedy and drama. I also do a lot of procedural.
mm,
Um, so I use a residential house and I have tons of sets. So yeah, so it's really fun. We have a good time.
excellent. Well, it's been a pleasure getting to hear about your career, your path, and your way of overcoming the challenges.
Thank you, Amy. It's been so nice to talk to you, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And thanks for all the inspiration. You're inspiring me.
Oh, good. I'm glad. All right. Until next time.
Next time.